Yes.
I think like you're always gonna have to, like when something goes wrong, you can't just automatically plan before. So always being creative, no matter what situation, you have to come up with a solution to solve an upcoming issue.
Amazing. Beautiful. Very well said. Yeah. So come on in, you guys. Welcome.
There's three of us.
Welcome. And what school are you guys from today?
Old High School.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Welcome.
I like this shirt. This is neat.
Great. So yes, we were just discussing our ideas of what creative leadership means. So this person had a wonderful comment, and they said that it's about you're always, in a way, being prepared to come up with a solution, no matter what is thrown at you. Which is interesting because in terms of jazz, that sounds like improvisation to me, right? Yeah. So you're getting information, tonal information from the chordal instruments, from the bass. You're getting rhythmic information, and then you're coming up with solutions in a way to express yourself. Very cool. Any other ideas before we dive in? What does creative leadership mean to you? Okay. Got some? No? All right. It's all right. We all just had lunch, so you guys can take a moment, settle in. I'm going to shut the lights. Okay. So, thank you for joining. Today, we're going to be discussing creative leadership, making your own opportunities. And my name is Cara, Dineen. So, I feel really grateful that you guys came to this class today. We just kind of discussed a few ideas of what creative leadership means. So I'm going to ask a question. Can you be a creative leader in things outside of the creative disciplines, outside of music?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah. Perfect, exactly. So, some of you might say, okay, I'm going to be a professional musician. That's what I'm doing with my life. Some of you might say, I love music, but I want to be a banker, or I want to be an educator. So wherever you are, you in this room are a creative human being. So always carry that with you. You can always find solutions to things. And you can be a leader. So I'm going to start off with, I don't mean to be that person that's like, look at me, but that is me, you guys. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my story. I know, different without the math, a little bit. The reason I'm sharing this is because I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how I became a creative leader. So here I am, Cara Dineen. So I went to school, I went to music school. I wanted to learn how to be a singer. So I majored in vocal performance. And then when I finished college, I said, I only have 3 goals. My 3 goals were to make my living as a vocalist in New York City. So that could happen in any way, but those were like the 3 points that I wanted to do. So again, a lot of you don't have to be a full-time musician, to access your creativity, but this is what it meant for me. So I graduated college and I said, okay, I want to do that. So how do I get there? Well, I'm already a singer. I need to move to New York City. So I did. Moved to New York. This picture is taken from Brooklyn. That's the New York skyline, Empire State Building on the far right. So I moved to New York. I got my job at H&M. And I was ready to figure out how to make my living as a singer. Right? So my life as a singer began a little awkwardly. My first gig that I had was a little bit of a disaster. So, the drummer didn't like me. I don't know how you couldn't like me. Right. But he didn't. And it was so classic showbiz. At the end of the gig, he said, "I'll be in touch." Like that. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have filmed that. That was so like classic, So that didn't work out. Okay. So my next gig, I said, well, let me do my original music. I write songs. So I got the band together with a lot of my friends from college who had also moved to New York. We worked really hard on the music charts. We rehearsed, da-da-da-da. Everything was great. I get to the show, and there's one person in the audience. And it was my boyfriend. Oh. I know. I had forgotten that I was no longer in Missouri anymore. Where, your family, your friends, they come through, It's like a built-in support system. So, let's see, there we go. So, a little rough. But I kept trucking, because I was going to make my living as a singer in New York. That's what I wanted to do. So, finally, I thought I had gotten my big break. I started singing with a wedding band, singing pop songs, and wedding band. So I was like, okay, I'm a jazz singer, so it's a little weird for me to be singing Kesha and whatever. But I'm making my living as a vocalist in New York City. I'm going to keep doing. So I did until, bum, 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 I was fired. I know. Again, who could fire me? So, but it happens. Why was I fired? I asked. Well, the gentleman informed me that I was too jazzy. So, he said, can't you just sing it like it's on the radio? So, I looked myself in the mirror, and I thought about all of this, and I said, you know what? No. I can't sing it like it is on the radio, and I don't want to. I'm a jazz singer. That's what I do. I improvise, like we were just talking about, right? So I said, you know what? I said, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not enough of this, I'm not enough of that. So I said, I'm just going to, maybe I'll make my own band. Right? So I said, I'll make my own band, and I'm going to do exactly what that guy told me I did. Wrong for him. I'm going to make that right. So I'm going to make my own band where I specifically do pop songs, but I jazz them up. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that began my life, the next phase of my journey, into my version of what it means to be a singer, making my living as a vocalist in New York City. So when I entered this world, I entered into being a creative leader. Right? So I went from someone hiring me to perform a job to me doing the hiring of other people to support my vision, right? Yeah. So that was when the shift happened. So when this shift happened, I became a founder and creative director of my own bands. I became a musical director and band leader. I made all the music charts, I rehearsed the band, I arranged all of the music. Then I said, well, I've got a great band, got good music, I've got a good mission. Now we need places to play. So since I kind of just moved to New York, I don't know people, and I didn't know how to do that. So I said, well, I'll just do it myself. So then I became a booking agent. I secured the gigs. I secured the opportunities. Then, of course, I was the lead performer, always working on my craft while I'm accessing these other areas. And I became an accountant of sorts. I wouldn't call myself an accountant. But, I had to learn about tax information. I was hiring all these musicians, and lots of money was being passed around. So I had to send people 1099s and keep track of their Social Security stuff, right? Because I was in charge. then I learned all about how to be a salesperson and sales. Read lots of books. I was cold calling people all the time. And most of my best opportunities came from me initiating contact and saying, hey, you should hire my band. And people being like, okay. Who knew it was, that easy, right? So, I mean, the whole thing wasn't easy, of course, but. And then lastly, I became an educator. Of course, teaching, but also someone who's an educator has to be a really effective communicator. So you have to communicate to the people that you're working with and collaborating with. You have to, in a way, like understand their learning style and how you can reach them, right? Whether it's the people you're working with or the clients that you get. So my version of a singer became this, all of these things. So I would much prefer to be the leader of my own destiny as opposed to someone telling me I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not this, blah, 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 right? So essentially, I made my own opportunities. Now, I'm not saying all this to be like, okay, that's not why I'm doing this. I guess I'm just sharing this because I want you guys to know that whatever you want to do, you can do it. You just have to do it. So, I know when I was your age in high school at St. Dominic, my freshman year, we had to write a paper on what do you want to be when you grow up. And I had just seen an amazing concert at Jazz St. Louis. And I was like, I want to be a singer. And my teacher was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure you do, And I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, I mean it. So, you guys can do whatever you want to do. So, does anybody have any things that they like secretly want to do? Would like to share? Yes.
I really want to be a historian, but nobody says that I can make a living in historian.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I just got chills. Beautiful.
I want to be a historian.
So you just said two really important, you said a very important thing. You said, I want to be this, a historian. Which, how powerful is that? History, us learning our history means that we can navigate the future in a much better way, right? So powerful. And then you said, but everyone tells me what?
That like I can't make a living doing that.
I can't make a living doing that. Oh. But look, it made the computer turn off. Oh, it was so sad, right? So here's the thing. Everything is a balance, right? So when I created this, I'll talk to you more about my bands, but it's always a combination of what can I do that I'm really good at, that I love doing, and what is there a need for in the world, right? So it's always a balance, right? Otherwise we'd just be by ourselves in a practice room alone. So there's always a balance. So you want to be a historian, beautiful. So find the need for where you're going to be needed. And you will be able to make a living. Not only be able to make a living, you'll thrive.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so it's about finding what makes you come alive, what excites you about life, and then seeing how can I integrate this into the greater collective, right? How can I make a difference with this thing? Yeah, very cool. Please do the story.
Okay.
Yeah. And you might hit a few little rough spots, like me in my first 3 gigs, kind of rough. But you just kind of keep showing up and you make adjustments. So very nice. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Any little ideas? Yeah? Got an idea? No?
Wants to be a race car driver.
Race car driver. Okay.
It's a secret.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you have to practice safely though. I don't know.
That's the problem. Safety is his number one concern.
Yeah. Well, perfect. If you want to be a race car driver, great. You might be a really effective police officer, driving fast in police car chases, right? So again, taking something that you love, that you're good at, and seeing how does it integrate with the society. Where is there a need? How can I help with this thing that I love? Right? Cool. Well, if anything else comes up, please just raise your hand. We're going to continue on for now. So I just wanted to share what happened when I made these bands. So I created 2 bands, worked in New York City over the past decade. So that's where I lived until the pandemic. And I came back home to be here with you guys. My bands, I performed over 100 dates annually in New York City and internationally. Awesome. I wanted to perform for fancy events, so worked out. I ended up performing for SpaceX, Coco Chanel, GQ Magazine, Swiss Army, New York Fashion Week, Tribeca Film Festival, etc., etc. Right? Again, the reason I'm sharing this is because this all stems from a thought. I just want to make my living as a singer in New York City, which snowballed into, well, that guy can't tell me what to sing. I'll just make my own band. And when I made my own band, it wasn't like Eureka. It wasn't like the clouds separated and I was, this projector lights like shining on me. Right? It wasn't like, oh. It was like, I think I'll do this little thing. Maybe I'll invite my friend who's a bass player. We'll kind of start. It's like, so it can be a small idea, but if you keep showing up, it can grow into great success, right? So yeah, so I played for fancy stuff. I ended up hiring and directing over 50 musicians through every year. So I was excited that this little idea, I could spread the abundance to other musicians so that they could also make their living as an awesome jazz musician in New York. Playing music that was, I don't want to say, it wasn't, your typical wedding band music. It was really artistic. So that was exciting to be able to, pay your rent doing music that you actually like, right? I generated about $100,000 with one of the bands. So, okay, so get your history, girl. Yes. And ultimately, I quit my day job. I had a few of those while this was getting all up and running, but I was able to quit one. So that is my quick story of what creative leadership meant to me over the past 10 years. Any questions or comments before we move on? Okay. So, learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. Very simple. That is life. I'm here. I want to go there. Okay. Let me read some books. Let me ask some people for advice. Let me try by doing. Let me make adjustments. Oh my gosh, I'm here. How'd that happen? Right? So, whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. So, here are the 5 steps to successful creative leadership. Making your own opportunities. Number 1, master your craft. So, figure out your main craft. We'll talk about this. I'll go into greater detail with each of them. But that comes first. So, I'm a singer, right? Yeah, I do all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, me as a singer is like, that's the best thing that I do. So that's my craft. Envision. So I want to blank. I want to make my living as a historian. Perfect. That's a vision. Then collaborate. Connect with others who maybe are in that field. Take them out for lunch. Then implement the plan. And lastly, this one applies to all of the other stages, but be professional. We'll talk about that one. Okay, so first up, mastering your craft. I'm good at blank. So think for a second, what are you good at? If you had to pick one main thing. Perfect. So that could be your craft. So you're going to want to improve upon that because whatever you are, be a good one. I'm really good at baking. Well, become a good baker. Yeah? So your craft comes first, everything else comes second. Choose at least one area to specialize in. So in this day and age, everybody can do everything. Like, oh, I'm an audio engineer, I just plug in my laptop. Oh, I do this. Yeah, I have a computer program for that. Oh, I'm a social media person because, you know, I scroll. Okay, so everybody, you have the potentiality to be like everything. That's okay. Be everything, be all you want to be, but just make sure that your craft, you're always improving upon. That comes first. Because you can be good at lots of stuff, but if you're not good at like your main thing, you know, that will slow your progress. So you're always working on mastering your craft. So when I was reading all those books on sales and learning all this stuff, I was still practicing every day, right? So that's my main thing. So this is kind of interesting, but make sure you can perform to the level that you're selling to others. So, you know, yeah, does that make sense? Okay, good. But as long as you're always working on your craft, you know, that shouldn't be a problem. So, up next, envision. I want to blank. So think for a second, what you want to do. Okay, so that's your vision. So I'm just kind of curious. Raise your hand if you want to be a professional musician. Okay, we got 2. Good, good. Raise your hand if you want to be a creative professional or work somehow in the creative industry. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, right on, 4. Cool. Okay, good. How many of you enjoy being a leader? Okay, hello. Perfect. So, you guys are the visionaries. Leaders are the ones who see things that don't exist and then create those things. So, that to me is as creative as it gets. Whether you're a creative professional or, like we said earlier, working in the bank. If you see something that doesn't already exist and then you want to implement that vision, that's what a creative leader does. And a creative leader rallies people to help them create that vision. So, excellent. All right, so I'm doing a lot of talking. How are you guys feeling with all this?
Good.
Good? Okay. Cool. Cool. Perfect. So everybody in this room enjoys being a leader. How many of you want to improve your leadership skills? Okay. Good. Excellent. Yeah. So the secret to improving your leadership skills, besides research and learning and reaching out to people, is to just do it. Okay, just dive in. What's that? That's that Zen quote. Leap and the net will appear. Okay. Yes, I just heard a very long exhale with that. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. But good. So would you guys see yourself, even if you don't want to be for those who didn't want to be a professional musician, raise your hand if you see yourself as creative, regardless of what you want to do. Do you see yourself as creative, my leaders? Okay, some of you. Good. Most of you. Good. Okay. For those of you who don't see yourself as very creative, realize what I just said, that leadership and creative is creative. It is. So maybe you don't have, maybe you don't paint watercolors, or, you're not a very outwardly creative, artistic person, or that doesn't resonate with you. That's okay. Again, you're going to have a vision. You want to lead. You want to implement that vision. That is creative. Yeah. So, cool. We all start somewhere. So, if you have a vision, the map will reveal itself as you take action. So, keyword action. It's interesting because, you can think of the fire element, the first picture, lighting a match, right? That's transformation. So, taking action is initiating transformation. So, when you take action, no matter how small, you're going from here, point A, to where you want to go. Okay. I did that. I read a book on blank for 10 minutes today. You moved only a small distance, but you did move. And a consistent of these little steps, like I said, before you know it, all the way over here, and it's like, whoa, I'm 75%. Okay. All right? Cool. Okay. Again, start before you think you're ready. So first, identify that vision. What is your goal? What is your mission? As soon as you kind of figure that out, then you can create an actionable business plan. Okay? Objectives, like an outline in the English class, right, where you write the paper. The paper is your life. The outline is you identifying your goals. So, again, leaders educate themselves. So learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. Let's say that all together from right here. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. Yes. Okay, we do it fast. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. 2, 3. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. 2, 3. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. 2, 3. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. Beautiful. Yes. Are you sure this isn't a choir today?
Yeah, they try.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So here's me again. All right. Now I'm just bringing this up because I want to show you guys what happened. I hope if I click this, it'll click the play button. But so I said I'm going to do jazzy pop songs. Here's my band in New York. The guitar player is Lauryn Hill's guitar player. Yeah. Amazing. The horn players, alto and trumpet, there is Rayleigh's. Yep. Drummer Nathan is from California. And this guy, Johannes, is from Germany. Holding it down on the bass. So, let's see. I might have to hit the play button. Don't worry, it'll only be 4 seconds. Alright, so.
So deep in your eyes, I touch on you more and more every time. When you leave, I'm begging you not to go. Call your name 2, 3 times in a row. Such a funny thing for me to try to explain. How I'm feeling, my pride is the one to blame. I still don't understand just how you look and do what no one else can. Got me looking so crazy right now. Your love's got me looking so crazy right now. I got me over your page right now. Your kiss, I got me over your save me right now. You're looking so crazy in love, got me looking so crazy in love, oh yeah. Looking so make you try now. Your kiss got me over your save me right now. Looking so crazy in love, got me looking so crazy in love, love. Looking so crazy in love, got me looking so crazy in
All right. Do you guys recognize that song?
Yes.
What is it? Crazy Love. You're perfect. By who? Yeah. By Beyonce,
Yeah.
Queen. Yes. So here I am doing exactly what that guy told me he didn't like me doing. Right? So I don't know. I have to say that I'm really happy. I'm much happier doing this than I would have been singing Kesha and trying not to be myself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the same goes for you guys. So whatever your vision is, wherever you see yourself, even if you don't know, it's okay. When I was in high school, I never imagined I'd be doing this. You know, I thought I was going to major in music education. But things shifted along the way. So so I'm happy I had a vision and I followed through because it turned out to be successful. That's fun. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for letting me share that with you guys. I might have to click again, sorry. So any comments so far? No? Sleepy time? Okay, let's see. Sorry about that. No, PowerPoint. Great. So let's move on to collaboration. I don't know how to make this full screen. All right, so let's talk about collaboration. So I had this idea, Then I said, I gotta find like-minded people. So I found my musicians that you saw on the screen. It took me a long time. I had to kiss a few frogs before I found my princes, you know? And not to say that, you know, other people were frogs, but it's about finding the people that really resonate with you and what you're about. And then when you find them, they'll help you bring your vision. It's kind of like if you're like here and you find your people, you like get like a fast forward, like a few steps to executing that vision, right? So be looking for your people. So let's say your vision, I want to blank. Collaboration is with these people and or for those people. So you have to figure out that. For me, I want to sing jazzy pop songs with other awesome jazz musicians. For, what would my audience be? Hipsters. Hipsters would like this, right? I lived in Brooklyn. There were plenty of hipsters to hire me, help me pay my rent. Perfect, right? So, collaboration. So, how do you guys find your team? Research concerts and or events that interest you and go to them. You're going to meet people there. So, if you're really into tennis, you probably are already taking tennis lessons or going to tennis events. But, you know, maybe you'll meet someone in the tennis section of the bookstore. Okay? Random, but true. It happens. Always keep your eyes and ears open for people who you can collaborate with. Ask your friends or network for references if you're looking for a specific skill set. I'm really looking for a graphic designer. Oh, really? Oh, my cousin's a graphic designer. She just helped me build my website. I'm sure she could help you build your website. That's how it happens, right? So, initiate contact with people you admire and or would like to work with. So find people who are doing kind of what you want to do reach out to them. 95% of the people in the world are actually really nice. Okay, there's only like 5% meanies, but people are really nice generally. And if you say, hey, you know, you're an amazing historian, and I really admire your work at the Missouri History Museum, would you mind if could I buy you lunch and ask you a few questions about your job as a curator? Boom. The little lady would probably be so excited. She'd be like, someone's into history like me? Oh, yeah, right? So go for it. People love to help people. Then create opportunities for you to kind of work with those people. So in my case, book a gig somewhere where I have to hire that musician or call a guitar player I'm intimidated by, but I got a gig and I need it, so I'm gonna do it, right? All right. So it's interesting because as a leader, you're often kind of, they say it's lonely at the top. It kind of is true. So even though you're a leader and you're the one steering the helm of the ship, it's a very delicate balance between you kind of going within and making sure that the vision you've created is being executed appropriately. But you have to be flexible enough to work with other people in helping you create that vision. But it's not like you're not using people because you're going to help them with their vision too, right? So it's kind of a delicate balance between understanding and identifying what you need and what you're seeing because you're the leader, so top of the mountain, right? But then also how do you work with people? So first of all, act like a professional, be treated like a professional, okay? Treat people how you would want to be treated. This kind of goes without saying, but be cool. Like, I can't tell you how many people I have hired and I had to travel with. You know, it's just like, it's just kind of, you know, they're not cool. We'll just say it like that. And I don't mean cool, like cool kids at the cool lunch table. I mean more like, you know, be a joy to work with, right? Don't give people problems. Don't be a stick in the mud or complain. It's like nobody wants that. So if you're working with other people or you're working for other people, remember, be cool. Step up and offer to support the leader and your coworkers. So the leader has a very difficult job. So if you're working under someone, say, how can I help you? My favorite people that I worked with said to me, Cara, can I help you like carry the stuff, or what do you need? Thank you for asking me that, because as the leader, I have a lot on my shoulders, a lot, right? So I choose to work with those people a lot because they get it. And then when I'm working for others and I see a leader who has a lot on their plate, I get it too. And I'm like, how can I help? That goes a really long way in working with other people. You know, if you are working for someone else, observe the manager. So what do you like or don't like about their leadership style? This is all notes for you in developing your own leadership style, how you want to execute your vision. This worked really well. I'm going to borrow that. I'm going to try and do that. You know, this didn't work so well. Why? Again, be the type of person that you would like to work with. So, questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay. Let me see how we're doing on time. All right. So, let's just move on. So, implement everything. So you're working on perfecting your craft. You have created a vision. You have found people to help you with that, creating that vision. Great. Now, number 4, it's time to implement. Right? So, how would you like it to happen? So, for me, I want to be a singer in New York. I want to sing jazz songs. I'm going to do that with cool jazz musicians for hipsters. And I'd like it to happen in fancy places. Great. See how it's getting a little specific? So you can get as specific as you want. It doesn't have to be specific, but it has to be like actionable, right? So I didn't have to say, I want to perform for SpaceX. Like, I didn't even know what SpaceX was, you know, back when that happened. But I did say fancy stuff. And so because of that, then I started researching fancy places. Okay, let me look into some fancy hotels. Let me look into some, reach out to luxury clients. So it's like it was specific enough that I had something to go on. Yeah. So, again, say it all together. Learn what you need to learn to get where you want to go. Great. So, research, that was me looking up all those fancy places. So we are all works in progress. So know your own abilities and limits. Like if you're really bad at math or finances, ask someone to help you, read a book on personal finance, and then say, okay, I at least know a little bit, still not for me. Then you could outsource to getting a professional accountant. Do you guys know what outsource means? Yeah, who knows? Tell me. Anybody know? Yes.
It's like having someone else do some part of a job for you, something that they could do better than you could.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. So a professional accountant can probably prepare my taxes better than me. And he would probably do it in a much shorter amount of time than it would take me to like learn, read 8,000 books and figure it out. Yeah. So knowing your own abilities and your limits, not saying, okay, I woe is me, no math for me. It's like, no, I know, you try, but you know when to call it, so to speak. Again, ask for help, advice, recommendations. So I'm not good at personal tax, finance, law, therefore, I'm going to ask someone to help me or hire someone. Read books, take classes on the things that you don't know. Research and develop your objectives, mission, and strategy. So, whatever all the things that we're learning right now, those blank statements, I'm good at blank. I want to blank. I want to blank with blank, for blank, all of that stuff is you kind of identifying your objective and your mission. Once you have that, then you can kind of develop a strategy to execute all that. So, start now. You will never feel ready. It's the truest phrase ever. So do just a little something. If you're super scared, I'll just do a little thing, right? Because again, creating that action, initiating any kind of action, creates momentum. And that momentum drives it all the way home. So, do something for your project or whatever you want to do today. Even if it's only for 10 minutes. Set the timer on your phone. 10 minutes. For 10 minutes, I'm going to do something about this thing that I want to do. Learn by doing and learn as you go. Great. Here's a big one. Adjust instead of quitting. So, of course people always say never give up. Don't quit. And there's truth to that. Make adjustments instead then. So if something's not working, adjust it. No judgment. Just switch. And then after you've made 8 trillion adjustments, only then can you finally say, you know what, I've tried everything. I can respectfully let go of this thing now. But you've tried everything, made all your adjustments. So, I'm going to speed through some of these so that we have enough time. But, lastly, be professional. So, all of our statements, I'll make sure you can say, all of this can happen by me being professional. So, when you are a creative professional or a leader, same thing. It's a little bit of a different lifestyle. If you do it full time, that's a whole thing. But basically, you just want to show up and treat it like you would anything that you care about. So make time for it every day. If you take your project seriously, others will take you seriously. So if you treat it like a real job, it can become a real job, whatever this side hustle or project is, if that's your goal. Scheduling, carve out time. There's a lot of other stuff in addition to just mastering your craft. You have to do administrative tasks, networking, promotion marketing, sales calls, research, etc., etc., etc. So make time in your day. Again, like I said, set the timer on your phone, be like 10 minutes every day I'm going to do this. Something. Yeah. Okay, show up on time to all appointments. You guys already look fabulous today. So excellent presentation. You look professional, and when I see you play, I'm going to be excited because I'm like, you know what? These students look professional. They're taking their jobs seriously as musicians today. So, good work. Already doing it. Keep things positive. So whatever energy you're putting out as a leader will be reflected back. So always remain positive about your project. It's okay, we all have our down moments, so it's not about negating those, but it's just about holding space for that vision from A to B. I see that thing, whatever happens, I know what's going to happen. Holding that space. So, I have some handouts for everyone to take home with them. So just take one and pass it around if you guys want. So these are little handouts about creative leadership and creating like a mission statement. So it's two sides on both sides. So there's a lot of questions like prompts. So you can write stuff out, fill in the blanks. So hopefully, you know, that can help you guys, see what's up in your own mind. It looks like we just have a few minutes left. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming here. Yeah, of course. Does anybody have any questions or any comments about all the material we just shared? Kind of a lot. Questions about being a leader? Comments then? Yes.
How long did it take you between moving until you really got it going?
Yeah, that's a good question. So he asked how long did it take before I moved to New York, you mean?
Between moving and when you really got going.
When I really got going? I would say it was probably within a year and a half. Yeah, between when I got fired. And then I said, well, I'll just make my own thing. But before I started that band, to be honest, I didn't know a lot about pop music. So I had a really heavy research phase where I was going in on pop songs and like picking out music, repertoire, creating musical arrangements. So everything that you guys saw, like that time frame was 10 years. So the total time frame of that was, I got fired, I had an idea, let me do this thing, to me getting the band, to me playing a lot, to me playing in better things and fancy places, and then the pandemic came. So all of that was 10 years. So it can take longer than we think, but you can also speed it up, like depending on, you know, how fast you want to go. So yeah, so it can be whatever you want it to be. If that makes sense. Cool, thank you. Yes.
Do you think that you'll go back to singing once things go back to normal?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Aw, yeah. That's a very good question. Yeah. For me, singing, I've identified, is my craft. So whether I'm performing publicly or not, I am working every day behind the scenes on my craft. Because it's easier to stay ready than to get ready.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, so once you find, your thing, you identify that. No matter what's happening externally, you're always perfecting that. Yeah. So that's a really good question. Awesome. Yes?
What's your favorite song to sing?
That's a great question too. My favorite song to sing is a very old song. I don't even know if you would know it. It was written in 1912, and it's called My Melancholy Baby. No? Melancholy baby,
Yeah.
just gotta look and don't be blue. Yeah, very old song. 1912.
Like when you were born.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions before we close? No. Okay. Well, you guys are wonderful, and I'm excited to see everything that you create. So go out, my leaders. Yes. Thank you. Thank you all so much.